Right, we are getting back to our most memorable moment of the decade.
They're known for being cheats. They'll always be cheats. Amateur boxing stinks from the core right to the top.
I absolutely love that accent. Right to that tap. He's proper Belfast. Colin he wasn't holding back.
Shane Lowry versus Johnny Sexton.
I think the people around me really believed that I could, which helps me an awful lot. I do remember a lot of times in the past when I'm down on myself and serious chats with Neil, he always reminded me that he always said that I was going to win one. At least one, he said. So, you know, I suppose when you have the people around you really believe in you, it helps you an awful lot. So, yeah, obviously, look, I'm Irish. I grew up holding puts on the putting green back home to win the Open. Like it was always the Open, wasn't it? And I watched Paddy winning his 2 Opens. I mean, I didn't even know him back then, and I'm obviously very good friends with him. To have him there on the 18th, like you go into Paddy's house and his claret jug is sitting there on the kitchen table, and I'm going to have one on my kitchen table now as well. So I said that to him. That's going to be quite nice, and yeah.
Yeah, delighted to say that Shane's coach and the Golfing Union of Ireland's national coach, Neil Manchip, joins us on the line. Good morning to you, Neil.
Good morning, how are you?
Flying the thanks. I presume that takes you back to a pretty awesome weekend of the summer.
It does, yeah. You never get tired of hearing all those discussions and recollecting all the memories from Portrush. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like it's obviously it's in one of our most memorable moments of the decade, up against Johnny Sexton's drop goal against France. So it's in tough territory, but doing well so far over the first hour is anything to go by. It had all the ingredients, Neil, hadn't it? Like in terms of the first Open in Ireland, 70 years, first Irishman to win it on Irish soil. It was close enough to wire to wire as well. It had all the ingredients of just an unbelievable week, really, for somebody who's probably one of the, if not the most loved Irish sports person at the minute.
That's right. It was an amazing week, and as you say, very close to a wire-to-wire, getting off to a great start on Thursday, shooting 4 under, which was a great settler and just brilliant to get off to a really solid start in what was probably the biggest tournament of his career so far, playing the Open at home at Portrush and all the crowds there and all the setup. It was just a brilliant start to the week, and we didn't know what lay ahead at that stage, but that was a really good start to things.
One of the maybe most surprising aspects of it afterwards was his own comment about how he couldn't help but early in that final round start to think about winning the thing, and how Bo was starting to have to talk him back into it and sort of get his mind back in the game, I suppose, to take each shot at a time. Were you in the rope, inside the ropes at that point, or where are you when all that's unfolding? No,
we'd be outside the ropes, so it would just be himself and Bo and 1,000 photographers and cameramen. But no, we would talk about that, and it's important to let yourself think ahead like that, because I mean, you can't not think about it. It's such an incredible prize to think about winning, and then important to get back to the next shot, which Bo was absolutely fantastic at helping Shane to do. So
if you're outside the ropes, is your involvement next to nil at that point, or is there anything you can still do?
My involvement is trying to see the shots, which was very difficult at times, taking notes, keeping statistics that we do, and but pretty much a spectator apart from that.
What state of mind are you in then? If he's starting to think, Jesus, I might win this thing, what state of mind are you in during the final day?
Very similar to him. I mean, thinking ahead of what could happen, but also getting back to the next shot, taking notes and everything is going. We discussed the game plan before going out, and I was very confident that Shane was going to play really well on the final day. You never know how anyone else is going to do. We did discuss a lot about how the weather forecast looked, and it really played out how it was forecasted, where it was going to be really rough for a few holes and then pass over. So we did feel that it was going to be very hard for somebody to make a really good charge and shoot a low score like he did on Saturday. So much of it was a kind of case of trying to play very sensible golf and keep the mistakes off.
Like, was that the game plan going into the week, and sort of how much of that charge, sort of putting the foot in the accelerator versus maybe heeling off a small bit, how much of that is very tactics focused or sort of round dependent?
Well, the one thing is Shane knows the course really well from having played in the north of Ireland there for many years now. Okay, the new holes on the 7th and the 8th were different. We went up to practice a couple of weeks before the Open, got a good look at those. So he did know the course very well, won the north of Ireland there in 2008. So in terms of playing the course tactically, that was already there. And then just playing the conditions we had during the week. But there was no great talk of, trying to get off to a fast start or trying not to play badly, that kind of thing. It was really just take one shot at a time and see how it all went. Because it was such a huge occasion. There was obviously going to be a lot of emotion involved right from the start. A lot of family at watching, family and friends from all over Ireland. So it was just a great occasion to look forward to. But we certainly didn't predict it was going to end up the way it did.
No. Given the gap going into the final round, the 63 on the Saturday, just an unbelievable round that I know he's checked as one of the obviously greatest of his careers, given the context of it. But given that there was only one player inside 6 shots, what was the conversation on Saturday night about the game plan for Sunday?
Well, yeah, Tommy was 4 behind, and then I think JB Holmes was 6 behind. So there was that nice lead, but I mean, it could turn into a very small lead or no lead very quickly, or it could turn into a bigger lead quickly as well. So we discussed around those things that, after 5 or 6 holes, you might be 6 or 7 ahead. After, the same amount of holes, you might be level, you might be 1 behind. But whatever situation you're in, play the next shot, because it all adds up at the end. I mean, when he won in Abu Dhabi, he went 4 shots behind after being 4 shots ahead at the start. That was after 11 holes and ended up winning there. So no matter what happens, hang in there and play the next shot, because you never know how other people are going to do, and all you can do is influence your next shot. And whether that lead you have at the start has gone early or increased early really doesn't matter as much as just putting your attention on the next shot and playing as well as you can.
Just on that, Neil, like if you're on the final day of the Open, what percentage is talent? What percentage is literally just mental strength at that stage?
Well, very much mental strength. I mean, very much accessing the skills that you've accumulated over the years and having the wherewithal and patience and awareness to play shots you're comfortable with, to pick good targets and stick to your game plan, no matter what's going on.
And is that something you either have or you haven't, or is it something you learn over time? We've kind of a performance coach on there. Like, it's such that if particularly if things start to go off kilter and go a little bit awry, that is it a thing that's innately there, or is it something you learn that, listen, I'm going to deal with this setback and everything is fine?
No, it's a skill as well, and it can absolutely be learned and developed and enhanced and bettered. And no different to any other skill, it can certainly be improved upon. But a lot of it does come from experience and maybe understanding how you may have made life difficult for yourself in the past in the course, trying to force shots or being a bit defensive or worrying too much what other people are doing or thinking too many holes ahead and trying not to make mistakes. So, no, it's certainly a very strong skill and a very important skill about accessing the talent that you have when you need it, because you're not going to learn any new skills at that stage. It's accessing the skills that you have, playing the next shot as well as you can, playing shots you're comfortable with, picking good targets, and committing to the decisions that you make. Because nobody else can put you off. The target's not moving, the ball's not moving until you hit it. Nobody's going to tackle you. It's all up to you to deal with the next shot.
And as somebody who doesn't really follow golf, where does Shane rank in that regard in terms of the quality of players from 0 to 100 or whatever, in terms of mentality to get through, particularly in the last day?
Well, you would see over tournaments that he's played both as an amateur. I mean, he's won the Irish Open as an amateur, which is an incredible achievement, a real fairy tale, and then to go on and do this as a second coming of that 10 years later. So, I mean, he definitely has a very high level of awareness and just bottle and heart and guts and the will to do his best no matter what's going on around him. He hasn't done it every single time he's played. He would say that himself, but certainly learning from other experiences. But he certainly has a very strong head and a lot of guts and the ability to do it when it matters most. And
a big year ahead, Neil, potentially trips out east and lots of big moments ahead potentially in 2020. What are the targets for the next year? Have you set them out yet?
Yeah, targets would be around, the Ryder Cup coming up later on in the year, and before that, really excited about the Olympics. The two Irish players that will be there will be the top 2 Irish players in the rankings, in the Olympic rankings, which at the moment Rory's number 2 and Shane is number 12. So both very, very highly ranked. So it looks at the moment that the team will be Rory and Shane for Tokyo right at the end of July. So that's a really exciting thing to look forward to. We were out looking at the golf course just northwest of Tokyo and Kasuma Gazeki back in October. Beautiful golf course will really suit the 2 lads there, and yeah, we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, listen, best of luck for the year ahead. Thanks, million, for taking the call. He's doing well in the poll, by the way. It's
This is going to be a
I
hat
think he's going to
canter.
get there.
Yeah, we would have. I think
Another one in the can for 2019.
even if he voted for Johnny Sexton, I think it wouldn't make a difference. It's the people's vote.
Yeah, Neil, thanks, million.
Democracy does work,
Thank you very
despite
much.
what we've seen the last day or so.